What's interesting is we've heard from President Trump that there might be an issue of Netflix becoming so significant in size. You own Netflix shares. What do you make of it?
Well, I think there's some truth to that. Netflix is sort of the big monster out here in Hollywood, and there's only so many places to sell your movie. So if you take out Warner Brothers, you're basically going to Ted even more often to try to sell projects. So there is some truth to that. I think when you look at the broader media landscape, I'm not worried on a monopolistic sort of perspective, but it certainly creates less competition, not more.
Ross, one of the distinctions between the two bids is that Netflix is not just being just the studios and streaming platform business, but it is a cash and stock deal. That might seem a little bit dry, but as a Netflix shareholder, it assumes that there will be some increase in value, right, if the merger goes through. What is your kind of perspective on that?
Well, that was what I was thinking about last night and what I tweeted this morning, that when I really sat down and thought about it, I still think the Netflix bid is superior because of this issue. Because when you do an all-cash deal, you're basically saying all current owners will not participate in any future profits of the company. And if I was a Warner Brothers shareholder, I would want some of the Netflix stock as part of the deal, because why would you want to give up all the upside of now being a part of basically the most powerful company in the history of Hollywood? So, that's what I tweeted this morning. I think Ellison's going to have to come up with another $2 to $3 one way or another in this bid to really be superior to the Netflix price.
From what I understand, you don't own Paramount Skydance. Used to,
no, I don't.
But don't now.
I bought it. Yeah, I bought it recently because several of the people I know in Hollywood are extremely bullish on Ellison. And so I bought it recently, but when the deal started and it turned into a bidding war, Warner isn't worth even close to $30. So everybody's overpaying for this asset right now because it's so rare. But what I fear and why I immediately turned around and sold the stock is they're going to end up overpaying for this asset. And Warner's been an albatross on every company that's ever owned it. I've known Warner since the days, from the early days. Nobody's ever made money owning Warner.
So why do you think Netflix is just good buying the bits of it that it should? Do you not like what about Paramount Skydance wanting the whole caboodle? Is $2 to $3 the right amount they should be forced to pay to inherit the cables as well?
Well, the cable assets, by keeping it, is really a power play because they want to take control of CNN. So it's a way for the right to take control of CNN, and it really has nothing to do with any value because cable assets are being spun off, for example, with Comcast, and I think Disney needs to do the same thing because cable's, a dying business and the numbers go down. Right. So when you think about why would they really want this, that's just politics. And that's, I think, a big issue in this deal, that people in Hollywood who are generally on the left, including Netflix, don't want the right to get a hold of these assets. So there's a lot more to this than just money, and that's the cable assets.
I just want to push back on what makes you articulate you think this is about politics, because I think more broadly, certainly the Ellison family would come in and say, this is about the future of content, about delivery. This is not about, in any way, us having any bearing on the editorial decisions that we're making at CNN in the same way that they've articulated that about CBS.
Well, I don't look at Paramount Skydance as really innovating anything. Like they're actually more like a traditional studio than anybody else. And that's kind of why Hollywood wants them to succeed, is because they look like a traditional studio, where Netflix is all about innovation, and they're the big disruptor in the industry that most people in Hollywood don't like because of the way the contract and terms are. So if you're in with Netflix, you like them, but if you're not in with Netflix, you hate them. And that's Hollywood. So once again, I think Paramount Skydance needs Warner Brothers to really be a big player, and that's why they're willing to pay so much. Right. And politics isn't the main driver. I'm not trying to say that. It's a secondary driver of this, but it's part of it, and I think people need to keep that into consideration. And I still think in the end, Paramount's going to do whatever necessary to get this deal.
In the time we have left, there is the Wall Street view on this, which, thank you, you've given us the investor and Netflix investors' take. The politics we'll put to one side. Actually, more interesting is the Hollywood view. How does this change Hollywood? And one of the things that comes up on this program is Netflix powerful algorithm combined with HBO Max library. What is your view on that as a Netflix shareholder?
See, I don't see any value add on taking HBO from the sense of like, I need another streamer. It's like They're not going to merge them. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And nor do people want to pay $50 a month for a merged streamer, even though they're paying that for two separate streamers. So I think for Netflix, that's really about where do they go in live experiences, and what they're doing in the malls is really interesting with the Netflix experiences that they've opened, like one in Philadelphia. And then maybe they just completely changed the movie-going experience to being something much better than what it is now.